Welcome to the Business Badass Revolution. I'm your host, Pat Honiotes. We're here to talk about doing business from the inside out because being an entrepreneur shouldn't suck. Remember, business badasses are made, not born. Welcome to the show. All right, so I use techniques to, all right, I'll just be flat out honest with you. The very first session with me is I ask you basically 5 questions. And at the end of that, we'll be able to tell you what your beliefs are, what the one is that's stopping you, words to use for your marketing, and the gifts that you've gotten from your wounds. And that's because the subconscious mind records everything from at least conception on.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
And if we don't have the words to express it, and we don't when we're that small, the mind makes up its own mind. Okay. We human beings are meaning making machines.
Yeah.
We have to, yeah, you know that. We have to have a reason for everything.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Next Level Empowerment Show. I have the redoubtable, amazing, wonderful Pat Honiotes with me. She is a transformational coach, and she transforms business people and leaders from the inside out, which we will let her explain because I'm all over it. But we need to make sure y'all understand what Pat's about because she is badass. Go ahead, Pat.
Well, traditional business coaches, and I love them. I do. I couldn't do my work without them. Okay. And I've talked with several. I actually work with a couple, but it's not that they don't care. It doesn't make sense to them to go beyond strategies. This works. We know it works. And so that's what you do, right? And that's great. But when they give people strategies that don't work or isn't working for that person, it's just like, well, you're just not doing what I told you to do, which is not true. There's a reason, a subconscious reason why they can't do it. Okay. And I will have people say to me, well, if it's subconscious, how do we know what it is? Well, that's where I come in. We can show you what it is, but it's working from your subconscious mind. Okay. Because you have a subconscious wound-driven belief that keeps you being everything that you can be, Lori. We all do. The thing is once we know what that is, we can work with it. Because if we don't know what it is, we can't fix it. So it's about learning how you're wired. And we both know we're all wired just a little bit different. Some of us more different than others. Okay. But that impacts our business. It impacts our marketing. So what I do is I do the inside stuff first. Here's how you're wired. Here's some beliefs that are kicking your butt. Okay. Here are some patterns that you have that let's change, but you have to know what they are first. And that's inside you that you bring to everything. I get excited about this. Can you tell?
I'm totally in love with the same thing. I just come at it from a different perspective, but
yes.
I'm kind of fascinated to hear what you can tell us about. That's very rule breaking, and I love rule breaking. So here,
rules?
What rules? I hear it spelled with an R, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. But I'm thinking for anybody who comes across you and goes, well, she looks cool, she sounds cool, but how the heck does she get inside of me? How the heck do you get inside of people? What are you doing? Are you a witch? Say yes.
There are those that think I am. At one point, my sister wanted me to move back to Nebraska and do my work there and teach at the junior college. And I said, you do realize I'd be burned at the stake within the first 10 days, right? So no, I'm very well trained, Lori. And what I did, my background, my BS, imagine that, is in education. Okay, my MS is in counseling psych, and I'm a board certified medical hypnoanalyst, as well as a Reiki master teacher. And what has happened is all of those fields just came together like this for me. In that I can use some from each field to really help people get inside of themselves. All right. So I use techniques to, all right, I'll just be flat out honest with you. The very first session with me is I ask you basically 5 questions. And at the end of that, we'll be able to tell you what your beliefs are, what the one is that's stopping you, words to use for your marketing, and the gifts that you've gotten from your wounds. And that's because the subconscious mind records everything from at least conception on. All
Yeah.
right. And if
Yep.
and if we don't have the words to express it, and we don't when we're that small, the mind makes up its own mind. Okay. We human beings are meaning making machines.
Yeah.
We have to, yeah, you know that. We have to have a
Hmm.
reason for everything.
Hmm.
So, and because the subconscious mind is very literal, I can look at the words that people use. And when I start interpreting them literally based on how the mind works, we've got gold. And
Yep.
here's the thing, I have people say to me, all right, you're asking me about birth. What the heck does birth have to do with my business? Well, here's how it works. And it's knowing how to use those tools and put them together. Does that make sense, or do I need to say more?
No, it makes complete sense. I'm just
Oh, good.
wondering because I worked for 20 years to try to figure out how to synthesize all of the different aspects of what I know and can teach. Um and I'm wondering if what you learned in colleges and by Reiki masters and everything else, did that just come together magically, or was that some like a process you had to go through?
Oh, it was a many year process. Where I'm at now is, 45 years later, okay, of
Right,
testing this, testing that. Oh, let's see what happens if we include this.
right.
Oh, I wonder what. So it's being curious and then
Mm.
putting things together that we don't normally put together. Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, okay. And it's a process, but okay, I also get a lot of help from Dude. All right, I'm not that smart. Right? But I just get downloads and it just goes, okay, well, let's try it. And it sounds a little woo-woo, and it is, and that's okay because it's all very logical when you put it together.
100%. I've
Yeah.
been listening to a man. I don't know if you've been introduced to him before. He's on YouTube. He's 91 years old at the moment, and he's living with a family member, I believe. But for decades, he went live on TV, and they recorded all of these things. And he talks about the actual allegorical meanings of that are in sacred texts. He uses the Bible to prove that the Bible is actually a how-to manual for growing our consciousness, not a bunch of stories that ever really happened. And it's brilliant. So it is doing exactly what you're talking about.
What is his name?
His name is Bill Donahue, Donahue. And he is absolutely brilliant. He uses
Okay.
Kabbalah, he uses the Vedas, he uses the Bible. Like he's just, and plus he's entertaining as hell. He's funny.
Oh, yeah.
He gets all excited, and he's from New Jersey, so he's got some of that
I
accent.
got it. My
Yeah,
daughter-in-law is from New Jersey, so I get it.
you got it. Yeah, yeah. And I no longer believe in the whole concept of woo-woo, by the way, because what I've learned is
Oh,
that right? You're with me already. I don't even have to say it for you. But like, it's not woo woo. Physics and metaphysics are the same damn thing. We are frequency. We're made of,
yes.
right? We're made of atoms. Atoms are frequency. Ergo, we're frequent. That's why somebody who has no sense of morals or compassion can be getting all the worldly goodies because they just assume everything is going to be fine for them,
Yes.
you know. And the rest of us are going, I'm in a crisis of faith. It's stop it, stop it.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I'm thinking that this idea of not really believing in woo-woo, I've never expressed it that way or heard it expressed that way, but it makes more sense to me. It just is. And
It's
just because many people don't understand it,
Well, even the people in spiritual circles don't seem to understand it. Like, spirituality has almost, well, that's probably not true, but it has a lot of dogma, just like religion does,
of course it does. Of
right?
course.
Right.
Yeah.
Because finding the actual and becoming the actual living truth is a path that very few actually even know about, and then fewer still find it, and then fewer still like get to the goal. I'm not even sure there is a goal, honestly, but in that way. But I find the whole thing fascinating, and
I
I'm
do too.
excited. Bill talks about the left side of the brain, which is the 10% of our mind that we're using, and that the 90%, this is the feminine. And that's what we're calling woo-woo. So once again, we're putting down the feminine. And so I'm not into it anymore. I'm like, nope, no woo-woo. It's something, some other name I don't have yet.
There you go. There you go. When you find it, let me know. Okay.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. We don't have to name it.
True also.
We, we experience it. We live it. So there's really nothing you can say to me that's going to convince me it doesn't exist when I live it every day.
Experience, that's how you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something though about what is it that made you decide to do the specific kind of work that you're doing, to work with people in business and leaders?
I don't know that I decided, Lori.
Mm. Okay.
Um, because I was in education for many, many years. I started teaching when I was 12. Um, I
Oh,
had a sister that was severely mentally retarded, and I know that's not medically or currently correct politically, but she was mentally retarded, and that's the label we lived with. And so this was like in the early 50s, and nobody knew, okay, anything about that. Um, so they started a class at the YMCA, and the teacher couldn't find anyone to help her with the class. So I did. Um, and so
oh
I
my
got
God.
I got a really early start, and I got exposed to a lot of unusual behaviors, unusual handicaps, that kind of thing. And I just fell in love with it from the standpoint that these people were different, and because they were different, they were made fun of, they were ostracized. Anything different seemed to just be out the window. And I got a little bit of orneriness in me. So it was, with when they started getting picked on, oh hell no, not on my watch.
Good job.
Okay, and there's a whole story behind. I mean, I can take you through every detail. I don't think you want that. But here's the thing. People in business, entrepreneurs especially, solopreneurs especially, what's the word I want to use? They get a lot of crap. Okay? They need
Okay.
someone to have their back. And it really transferred from kids that were okay to we all have times when we need somebody to have our back. And that's my
Oh yeah.
specialty. Okay? That's how it's from there it was in school I stood up for the kids that the other kids made fun of. When I went to college, another person and I imagine this actually wrote the program as we went through it for them for special ed, secondary special ed. All right. Went to
Gee.
teach went to teach special ed in high school in the 1970. It was the first year it was in the school, and we introduced it. And here's the thing, at that point in time, the other teachers were almost worse than the students in terms of dissing my kids. That kind of get, oh, hell no.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
And it would be a matter of, they wouldn't necessarily always do it to the kids. They would try and take the teacher out. Well, they didn't know who they were talking to, but okay, one example is one of my kids who would walk out my door, and right next door was the boys' bathroom. Okay. I didn't write him a pass for that. I mean, come on. I'm standing in the door teaching, and invariably the one teacher down the hall would go in the boys' bathroom and actually peek into stalls and that kind of stuff. And I
Oh my.
said, and then try and get him in trouble for not having a pass. Now, I will never admit this in public there, but there may have been a time when I suggested to the young man that, you know what, Greg, it really would be a terrible thing if you came out of that stall and didn't know he was there and the door happened to hit him. I mean, wouldn't that be awful? You would just feel
Terrible.
terrible. I won't say any more about that. So it was, so even then, yes, it's causing trouble. And then from that, the counselors in the school didn't want to work with those kids. So I went to get my master's degree so I could be a school counselor for them. I never was, because then I got introduced to medical hypnoanalysis and trained in that. And actually, that's where I went to work first in an office and started bringing all that I'd learned from my education and put it together with medical hypnosis, because then I had the intellect to back it up, right?
Yes. Yes.
And from there, we went into people would come to the hypnosis and they would have low sales. Can you help me with my sales? Can you wave a magic wand with your hypnosis? And, well, no, I can't. But in using the hypnosis, and people's sales started to zoom. And sometimes it wouldn't. And then we knew we had to go back and do a deep dive to find out that underlying stuff that I do now. So that
Right.
was a long answer to a short question, but it developed just gradually over time. And now it's like my people just need some support that they're not getting anywhere else that I can see. I've
Yeah.
even got I've even got one now. People are, it's not okay to want more. Did you know that? I mean, in our society, it's not okay to want more. And I call bullshit on that.
Yep. Yep.
So I think I've got something brewing up here, and I think I'm going to do a whole thing on people that want more and just support the hell out of them.
That is
Okay.
gonna that is gonna be badass, and that is gonna dovetail right up against my fighting the idea of the toxic masculine as the only measure that we're supposed to hold in business, which is beat yourself up. If something's not working, it's your fault. Work really hard. Don't ever take a break. Just, and I call bullshit on all that. That is absolute complete bullshit. So it's this wonderful middle line that I think you and I kind of hold between us, which is want everything that you want, but you don't have to kill yourself to do it. Like, in fact, if you try to kill yourself, it won't work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, and here's the other stuff behind it, Lori. I think you'll agree with this. We've been taught not to feel, not to
Correct.
express our feelings, not to
Correct.
want more. And it's not just the feminine, there's masculine in there too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been so entrenched that we really have to get some awareness about where it's coming from before we can do anything about it. Not only where it's coming from out there, which is your specialty.
Oh
Okay.
no. Oh no. It's actually
Oh,
internal.
really?
It's internal.
Oh, okay. Then I messed that up. All
Oh
right.
no,
Tell me
you're
about
fine.
that.
You're
No,
fine.
tell me about,
Well,
because I see you as working with the external. No.
no, no, I work with the internal, and that's why my misspent past of being an actor, which I still am, in my soul, is really important to get women to stand up, be visible, because the one thing that we're told we shouldn't be is visible, right? You should be
And I get it.
adaptable, right? And so getting them to stand up and speak, and then going to the emotion. Like I can tell when somebody feels awkward, right? You can tell that. And so I'll stop them and I'll say, how did that part of that phrase feel? Because it seemed to me like you felt uncomfortable. Yeah, I felt like a liar, or I felt, I don't know, not
I hear
authentic,
you. I
right?
hear you.
And
Yeah.
so then I'll get them into speaking like a normal human, like just say your word, just say your stuff. And then it's the feedback from the emotional, and it's the clearing of,
Yes.
right? And it's the clearing of
Yes.
the mental, saying, oh, I don't really have to believe all that bullshit. It's like really seeing that it's bullshit and getting that support you're talking about from me. Yeah, no, actually, you looked really amazing when you were being strong. You weren't being overwhelming. What are you kidding? You were gorgeous. Awesome.
I did that today with one of my gals. She said she doesn't think she pitches well in group meetings. she kicked major butt. And I said, you got to start, you got to step back and really see what you're doing. You said something very interesting. And if you want to tell me to mind my own damn business, feel free to do that.
Not at
But
all.
but one of the things you said was my misspent past or my misspent. I'm going to suggest to you that it's not misspent.
It really isn't.
Okay, good, because you received so many gifts from your experiences back there.
Thank you. And I really did. I appreciate you saying that because
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah, because I find, I mean, and that's when you talk about the external, that's part of the external, isn't it? Right? It's like the way we speak
Yeah,
that either empowers us or disempowers us. And, we're going to be learning until the next lifetime, like it doesn't stop.
I'm clear. I'm clear. Oh, that is so fun because I didn't have to explain it. You immediately got it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
here's the thing is people tell me they get it, but they're not open. So when I say something like that, they get all upskittled. You just went, oh, I didn't even have to finish it. And you went, you got a lot of gifts. And you said, I know. And that changes, what's the word I'm looking for, Lori? It
Nervous system,
changes the what, hun?
nervous system, or it changes the way you approach
I think
your
it both. It
Yeah,
both. It
it does.
mitigates that. Go ahead.
No, I just said it does. It does. It totally
Okay.
changes everything about how you are and what you do. Give me 2 seconds. I thought this was plugged in and apparently it's not. And this could be a very short. Oh, here we go. I'm fine. Keep going. Keep talking.
No, we're good.
We're
We're
good.
good. No, I hope you never use the word misspent in your speech again, because
I
if
won't.
you if you didn't have that, my friend, we wouldn't be sitting here talking like this today.
That's really true because I remember when I first went into therapy in my like late 20s and I was reactive as hell. Anything that I was told, I was like, what do you mean? Or, oh, you don't like
Uh,
me. And, like all this kind of stuff. And it's not that I'm not triggerable. Hello, still in the body. But now I have all of this space in which to look at it, to consider it, to not necessarily be a dumbass right out loud. I
yeah,
still am a dumbass right out loud sometimes, but that's okay too.
yeah. Didn't we say something before? Oh, there's that human thing again.
Oh yeah, we're in that human body thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That bag of skin that we're in. Yeah.
I'm just really curious about when we get to the other side, it's not even another side, but when we withdraw our attention from this skin and we pull away from it and it falls down and we move on, do we go, Pat, hey, how you doing? Good to see you again. Is my mother waiting for me? Are all of my friends like, you know what I mean?
I
That's
hear you.
that's what I like to imagine that it's like coming off of a stage because I adore public speaking and I adore the stage. You're coming off the stage and going, Mom, you know, would be awesome. So I expect it.
I don't know the answer to that. Well, I listen to Dude. So I'm just hoping I'm tuned in correctly. You know what I mean? That yeah.
Tell
And
people who Dude is because I know they don't know.
um for me, I call God Dude. Okay.
Get
Um
lucky.
it's here's the thing. I have people that I'm disrespectful and irreverent. And I said, how dare you? How dare you tell me what my relationship with this is God? Don't even
Yes.
try that, because there's that, and I'm getting goosebumps on this one, Lori, is I would, how dare you? You don't know what my relationship is. You don't know. And see, that's just an example. We do that a lot to people. We tell them they're this or that, or what their relationship is with each other or with Dude or with,
Yep.
I,
Yep.
I get a little bit on my high horse around that. So yeah, Dude is, and all the, there's Archangel Michael that covers my butt on a regular basis.
That's
Now,
so
do I
cool.
Do I talk about that in everything that I do? No. I'm guided to talk about this kind of stuff when the people that are in front of me can hear it.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. I had a friend named Jane, and Jane was really really tuned in, really just, but she was also crazy as a loon in that, I mean, she had a lot of unhealed stuff, right? And so there was a
I
lot of
get that, but
cycle, right? It's she was and she for many years we were close, and then she would walk away, and then we were close again. So she was like my wounded bird that I would just leave my hand open for her to land in it when she felt she
yes.
could, right? And then finally, oh, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, she's gone. She's doing her own thing. But she was beautiful to have in my life in that I already felt like there's nothing that I can tell you about what you are experiencing. You are inside your own bag of bones, and you're the one who is experiencing it. So if you tell me you've had some wild, crazy experience, I am not the one who's going to tell you you're nuts.
Hmm.
I'm not doing that because I've had
Hmm.
my own experiences about things that people would be like, you must have been dreaming that. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you weren't there. You weren't in my body. And no, I was not
Exactly.
dreaming. So
Exactly.
screw you and see you later.
I know.
Get a
I
more open
gotcha.
mind and I'll see you
I
later.
gotcha.
Yeah,
And around that same thing, Lori, some people just need to be heard. They've not had a chance to
that's
just
right.
frickin' be heard. I was working with someone that had an awful childhood from the standpoint of just so many things. And there's a couple of times I just let her sit and talk and spew it all out because otherwise she's keeping that infection in.
Right.
And only when we can get it out somehow in a safe place, then we can heal.
Yes, we do need a little bit of oxygenated distance between us and it. It's not much
Yeah,
that we need, but we need it.
of course. Every
Yeah,
human being, that's part of the human condition. We need to be heard or
every
seen
single
or
one of
however.
us.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And I'm interested in the fact that all of this stuff, it all impacts our business because our business
Directly.
directly, it comes from us. Our business is us. I die tomorrow, my business is gone. It's not like I can set up a bunch of tables and chairs and they'll do the work when I'm not here.
I hear you. You're absolutely right. And a lot of people, okay, there's the other thing that started this. Thank you. Is we've been taught to absolutely separate.
Oh,
You do
geez.
not bring your personal life into your business. And I go, yo, it's already there.
Yep.
And when you
Yep.
welcome it and embrace it, it gives you power.
Ooh, let's talk about that because you said there's like all of this, all of these rules. We're not supposed to do this and we're not supposed to feel that. We're not supposed to have feelings and this and that. And so, how do we embrace it in the middle of all of these shoulds that surround us? How do we get that courage?
Welcome whatever comes in, because whatever comes in, my belief, is whatever comes to us is there as a gift if we let it be. So, one of my wounds, and I thought I've dealt with it years ago, and every once in a while it reminds me that it can be reopened, is I'm stupid. I'm a stupid piece of shit. Okay.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so now the difference now, Lori, is when it comes up, I go, oh, hello, you're back. And what are you here to teach me this time? What am I not seeing this time that I need to see so I can move on? Rather than going, oh my God, I'm stupid. Okay. No, welcome it in. And if it's, I'm unworthy, oh, you're back. But it goes back to that wound. But anytime you have a feeling like that, welcome it, embrace it. You know what, Lori? It's like a 2-year old. They're in the store and they want the lollipop, and mom says no. And the more mom says no, the kid screams louder.
Yep.
Okay. It's like that. Until we pay attention to it and hear it, it's just going to keep come back and keep kicking our butts.
Every single time.
Mhm.
And the other thing that we do is like this is another level to me, which is that there is a frequency, there is a felt frequency to that emotion, to whatever those emotions are that we have
Yes.
responded to from childhood or adult or whatever it is, from our traumas. And we can actually shift those. We don't even have to do it
Yes.
by going into that situation and going, I have to heal that situation. No, you're not that person anymore. The people who were hurting you are not there anymore. So where is your power? It's in the vibration, it's in the emotion, it's in the feeling and the sensing. And
As long as you're willing to take yourself there.
bingo, bingo. Um, and a lot of people are not, but then those who are making such fast progress as far as being free to come into their creativity and their authenticity and their lots of isities, you know?
I get it. I get
So
it.
awesome. So awesome. So what is something about, what is a rule that really pisses you off? Like a
Have we
business.
got 5 hours? Okay, a rule that really pisses me off. That's a good one. Mostly because I don't pay attention to rules anymore, so I can't. Uh,
Well, you did say a few of them already, so it was kind of an unfair question because you were like, you're not supposed to feel.
yeah, okay. Um, you're not supposed to feel.
One of mine is
You're
you're
sup-
not supposed to question the people who are above you.
yeah, well, I hear that
Yeah, I
one.
know.
I
Yeah.
hear that one. Um, one an interesting one is I ran into it not too. Don't be so rude. What the hell does that mean? And do
Okay.
you know that in different areas of the country it means something different?
No, tell me.
I'm living in the South now, beautiful country. I moved here from LA, whole different planet.
Oh God, yes.
And my granddaughter, who is brilliant and beautiful, and I'm only slightly prejudiced, said to me, Grandma, you're rude. And I said, Well, what are you talking about? I'm not rude. And she went on to say that I just tell it like it is. I don't, I don't. That's not the way it's done in the South. And it's not. Okay. You soft pedal as much, or that's been my experience. I can't speak for everyone, but it's more about being very soft and gentle and working up to something that you've got to say. And so, if she wants something, she takes her 5 minutes. I just say, blurt it out. What the hell do you want? Right. And where I come from, the East Coast and New York, I know those places, it's will you
Yeah,
stop wasting my time and just tell me what's going on? I said, so in the South,
yeah.
I may be in some parts of the South, I may be considered rude, but I'll tell you where I come from, you would be considered rude because you're wasting my time. And we got into a very interesting thing. I love kids because they just open our minds, right?
Yeah.
We actually went and researched it. And in different parts of the country, different behaviors are considered rude.
Wow, that's amazing.
I just look up and just look up under things like, what's considered rude in the South, what's considered rude in New York, what's considered rude. It's amazing. So there's where the rules things come in. I wasn't breaking any rules from my point of view.
Mhm.
Probably would have if I'd have thought about it, but so that, yeah, it's and don't be something is one of the rules that makes me nuts. Or you can't do
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah. Laying down the law, no good, no good. There's actually along the rude line, there was a woman that I knew, um, maybe for about 4 months, and she thought that what she thought she understood about my company, about what I'm doing. She thought basically, it turns out that I wanted to help women become more like men. This is absolutely, I know, it was a massive misunderstanding on her part. I don't know where she got it from, but it wasn't from me. It just whatever, it was one of these interesting karmic meetings.
No,
And
I get it.
I brought her into a group that I'm a part of. And the leader of this group is somebody I have great affection and respect for. And she came in and he went, Hi, what's your name? And she told him, and he said, Well, welcome. She goes, That's an ugly hat you're wearing. And I'm sitting there, I don't know what to say because I'm just not sure. I'm like, I want to say, hold the phone. What are you talking? So I talked to her later that day and I said, why did you open with that? And she said, well, that's what guys do. They always rib each other. I said, it was rude. Now, I didn't say don't be rude, but I did call her out. That was a rude
Well,
thing,
and that is rude, no matter where you're at. Yeah, I get it.
right? And so she just went on her merry way. She's like, well, I guess I misunderstood everything. Have a good life. I'll see ya. I'm like, okay. I'm not
Bye.
mad at I'm not mad at her. It's like, what? Okay, But
That's
yeah, the don't
interesting.
be and like don't like when you're depressed and people go, don't be depressed. Stop that.
Exactly. Exactly. Or
No.
I had someone tell me once that their therapist just choose not to be depressed. I'm going, what
Oh,
the
geez.
fuck? It's not about that.
No.
It's about be depressed. Doesn't mean you have to stay there. It doesn't mean that you can't bring some things on board that will help you heal from whatever's depressing you, but be depressed. Doesn't mean you have to go into work and tell everybody your woes or post it all on Facebook. But if you deny a feeling and hold it down, I promise you, it's going to explode in your face at some point. It's like putting air in a balloon. At some point, it's going to, yeah.
100%.
Now, you can choose your behavior around being depressed,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
to a point, okay. But it's also with the idea that at some point you have to let it off. When I was working on my master's degree, they put me in an internship in an alcoholism counseling center. And I will tell you that my supervisor was a north end of a horse going south.
Oh
Okay,
God.
now I really couldn't say that if I wanted to pass and get a good grade, right? And so I was professional and sweet and the whole thing when I was at work. And I played racquetball 3 nights a week. And do
Mm.
you know whose picture was on the back of that wall in my mind every time? So that's what I'm talking about is be appropriate with your emotions so you don't hurt yourself. But man, find a way to get them out or they're going to come back and explode at the wrong time.
And I even would argue that they don't get out. I mean, if you're holding it all to yourself and you have nobody to share stuff with, it just like you said, it's like air in a balloon. It's going to pop. But yeah, I had so much healing work that I was doing over decades to heal my depression. But none of that worked. It kept me alive and it kept me moving forward in terms of my personal growth. It wasn't healed till I healed it with emotional awareness and tiny steps and the clearing of the understanding about frequency.
And also bringing back the energy or the frequency to your life. Do you see what I mean?
Well, I think so. Tell me more.
Um, my thing about depression is there's pieces of us that have died off. We can die mentally, spiritually, or emotionally. And the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. So if you're walking
Mm-hmm.
around depressed, there's pieces of you missing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that leaves holes in the frequency or holes in the energy.
Ooh. Oh, that's beautifully expressed. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I call it the walking syndrome, the walking zombie syndrome. You're walking around like a live person, but inside you be dead, girl. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so and it's not the only thing, but one of the exercises you can do that I used to do is, and imagine that piece of energy,
Mm.
dude sending white light through it and bring it alive, and you bring it to you to
Mm.
fill the hole in that energy.
I love it.
And you know what, Lori? I think that happens even if that's not the visual we're using. Because, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but it seems to me you had to fill those spaces with your real, true, vibrant energy, right?
Yes, but that wasn't what I was doing as a conscious exercise, but
Exact. Exactly.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
fractured for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also was, when you look at it just as the brain, um, people say thoughts become things, right? They go, what you think is what happens. But take exception to that in the following way. Thoughts are connected to our emotional body. It's
Yes.
really both. It's not just what you think, because if it were just what I think, then I could spend a million years saying that famous affirmation, I have $1 million, I have a million, and I'd have $1 million, and bullshit on that because I don't feel it to be true, right? Like I don't feel
I
the
don't
alignment
believe it. Yeah.
as my next step. And that's the other thing is like we don't take a little step at a time. We're always trying to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And that's bullshit too. That's another sort of macho ideal that's not real.
I hear you. I get it. I get it. And affirmations are a tool, but only if you're doing the rest of the work with it. Affirmations, from my point of view, are really just reminding us of the steps to take.
Interesting. Of the steps to take.
Okay, so I have
Yeah.
$1 million. That's not an affirmation I would use, by the way, but I
Nor
have a
me.
million dollars. Oh, I have $1 million, but in order to have that, I need to connect with this person, or I need to do this.
Okay. I
To
get it.
me, it's connecting the affirmation with another step. It's reminding me to take that step.
For me, affirmation, the ones that work for me are when it's a truth that I'm emotionally resonant with. So when I was homeless and I was living in a friend's house, in a friend's a room in his house, and I would take these walks, and I didn't know if I was ever going to get out of it. I didn't know if I was going to die some old bagless lady on the street, right? Um, but I was going to die trying, and so
Either
that's
way
not what
you were
happened.
going, right?
I'm going to the place up on a hill where the dude is standing. So I started making up songs that were based on things that I'd read that I resonated with. So one of them was um, that God knows what I want and what I need and gives it to me. And so I made up this song. You know what I want, you know what I need, you give it to me. You know what I want, you know what I need. And it, because it's resonant, it was putting a new groove in my brain and in my nervous
Mhm,
system. And
mhm.
so it wasn't like I want the boat or the $1 million or God knows I did, not the boat. Um, but to me, that's what affirmations are seriously good for, is the same as if we are meditating or not meditating, sorry, visualizing and putting ourselves in the scene, not watching the scene.
I hear
Then we're,
you. I get it.
we're practicing being that person we want to be.
Exactly. And so what you're doing with those affirmations then, the way is you're making the file in your subconscious mind
Mm-hmm.
bigger than the file that says you're a piece of shit or whatever. Because
Mm-hmm.
those were affirmations you got your entire life, Lori. We both did. You're
Mm-hmm. Oh
stupid.
yeah.
You're unworthy. Okay, I mean that mother is this big. All right, and every time you sang that, or every time you were making that file, you can't ever get rid of it, but you can make the file that's true bigger than
I
the other
don't
one.
know. I don't know that we can't get rid of it. I'm going to tell you because we have brain plasticity. I think we can. It's not like you
Okay, so
suddenly
here's
forget that it
here's
ever happened, but it doesn't rule you anymore.
here's one of the I love talking with you because you have the knowledge around the brain and all that I don't have. Okay, so you can explain it
Okay.
from a physical point. I can't. Okay,
Mhm.
and so that's why I think we make a good pair.
Yeah.
Um, it's I can't if someone wants the physical explanation of it, I'm gonna have them call you because I'm gonna
Oh
screw
dear
it up.
God.
No,
Okay.
but as far as affirmations are concerned, that kind of thing is, yeah, it's happened. That's what I mean. You can't get rid of it. You can't make it not have happened.
Correct.
Okay. But what you can do is overcome it with something that's bigger.
100%. And And what I've discovered also is that and I'm watching the time for you. I know that
I
you
know
have to
you
go
are.
in a
Thank
few
you.
minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, but what I always say to people is the light, and this is a quote, and I don't know if it's an actual measurement, but the light is 10,000 times stronger than the dark. Now, what that means is, for me in my experience, 40 years of clinical depression, 4 frickin' decades of clinical effing depression. And I healed the clinical part in 5 days. So it makes sense to me because what I did was I would bring in a slightly better feeling thought that was real. It wasn't a wish. It was like in the middle
There
of
you go.
depression, right? It's in the middle of the depression going, you know what? Only thing I can think of at this moment is I'm a badass because I have not exited this planet. I've been working at this for
There
this
you
long
go.
and I'm so brave. But you have to feel it. You have to feel
And
it.
and that impacted your business, didn't it? Let's bring it back to that.
Well,
Just that, well, yeah, you walked into it differently every day.
yeah, yeah.
That impacts your business because you said this earlier, your business is you.
Yep. Girl, you want to say something before we let you go on to your next amazing appointment?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for this. I love just the conversations we get into. And,
Fabulous.
I think we could probably talk for days. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for just the exchange of ideas I've learned today. So thank you very much.
As have I. So I think maybe we need to start another podcast. You
We
know?
could do that. We could do that. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Pat, thank you so, so, so much for being
Okay.
here. I absolutely love you, and I don't get to spend enough time with you. So we'll make another get together
We will.
soon. To
And that all goes both ways, right?
I do.
Okay. Okay.
Makes my heart happy. Mwah, mwah,
Bye.
mwah. Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Business Badass Revolution. Remember, as you're walking through your work week, being an entrepreneur shouldn't suck. Remember to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And oh, by the way, leave us a 5-star review. See you next time.